Okay, we do a lot on faster time frames on all the markets, but I thought it'd be nice to move down to some slower time frames, different market. This is on Apple, again with the volume pointer control, new indicator for TradingView, and I've got the time frames, very slow time frames. This is on the hour, this is on the 4 hour, this is on the daily, and this is on the weekly for this particular stock, heavily traded obviously. And at the moment we are trading in the pre-market. The cash markets are not yet open, but as soon as they do, then you can expect this one to move around with a little more volatility at the open. But in terms of what it's telling you from a volume point of control perspective, let's start with the hourly chart. Let's pop up here. Just pop that up full size. There we go. Make it nice and easy. Let's expand that out a little bit. Probably a bit too much. There we go. What are we seeing in terms of the hourly price action over the last few days? Well, volume point of control is here. We've got very little volume to the downside, so if there's a break to the downside, it's likely to move pretty rapidly. The move to the upside has been pretty labored, and you can see why, because we've got so much volume sitting here right the way up to 124. Really where it falls away, and we get a low volume node. Well, we've got a high volume node up here in the context of this region, but obviously a low volume node here and a low volume node here. So in terms of any move to the upside, once it got beyond 124, relatively easy for a gain of $1 through here up to 125. Then expect to see some congestion around this higher volume node here, and then if it got through 125 onto 126, the journey from 126 to 127 a share is pretty straightforward because there's very little volume there sitting in that region. The same is not true of the region we're in at the moment. Very heavy volume down to the volume point of control here at 120.39 in terms of the hourly time frame. And as I say, breaking to the downside, really through this region. Low volume node, it's going to crash through there with pretty much a knife through hot butter. Let's move up to the 4 hourly. What have we got on the 4 hourly? Interesting picture. VPOC is here at 120.85, and the VPOC will always be in different positions according to timeframes. A lot of traders think, well, shouldn't it be in the same position? And the answer is no, because you're looking at different time horizons and different concentrations of volume. So the VPOC is not always, if the timeframes are very close together, then you would expect to see it more or less in the same area. But as you move out to slower timeframes or timeframes well away from where you are, then you'll expect to see it in many different locations. And that's the beauty of it, because as you break away from your trading screen where you're moving away from a VPOC area and starting to see a nice trend develop, what you actually want to see is what is in the way higher up and lower up down in terms of different slower time frames. Where is the volume point of control? What's the volume profile like on the slower time frames? Where is this move that I am trading in my faster time frame likely to run into congestion or a pause point on a slower time frame? And that's what it's all about. Similar sort of thing here on the 4 hours, say for Apple, at the volume point of control, trying to break away, lots of volume here, thins out through here, then we go into a much higher volume region up here. You can see how important it was over here, the significance, and that's the region it built quite dramatically in that area, and then it falls away because the price action, when it came through there, came through pretty rapidly. So let's go up to the daily. Let's see what the daily profile is telling us. Well, it speaks for itself, really. Is this going anywhere? The short answer is no, not at the moment. Very significant. We're at the volume point of control for this particular stock. So in terms of intraday trading it, fine. There's always going to be moves intraday, but certainly from a longer term perspective, a slower term perspective, either as a longer term swing opportunity or even potentially an investment opportunity right now, it's not there. It simply isn't there because it's trading around that region. Again, the move to the downside is going to be rapid once we get through here. If it moves that way, a move to the upside will be pretty labored all the way up to, well, really 136 and beyond. Once we get through 136, then it's pretty clear, and you'd expect the price to move from 138 to 144 without too much difficulty. And finally down onto the weekly, which is really replicating very much the daily. Excuse me, we're back at the volume point of control here. So, don't expect much movement in terms of price action for the time being. Expect more congestion on intraday basis, certainly slower timeframes as well. And interpreting exactly the same way. If we're moving to the downside, where would the price action move before it hits some serious support areas? And of course, you can see it. So we'd move through here pretty rapidly and down to this level as well. We've got low volume here, low volume here. But once we start to get down to this area, down at 80 odd, much, much higher levels of volume, almost equivalent to the volume point of control. So you wouldn't expect the share price to drop through here rapidly. It would almost certainly congest. It would certainly move through here rapidly, but not through here. Equally to the upside, volume is falling away nicely, but you've got to wait for it to develop. It's going to take effort to get through here, but once we're through 135, I think we saw on the earlier time frame, 140, 145, pretty straightforward, should move through there with ease. So that's it. That's a much slower time frame, but the principles, I hope the point I've got across is it doesn't matter whether you are an out-and-out scalping trader on a 15-second chart or a 30-second chart, or if you're a much slower intraday trader, or if indeed you're an investor or a slower term trend trader. This is what it's all about. It works in exactly the same way. You just apply it to the chart and read it across the multiple timeframes in the way I've shown you on these videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this particular one. Thanks for watching. See you again soon, and bye for now.